here again with another video on mini lathe. So in this video I'm gonna do a chuck alignment and cross slide alignment. Basically there is lots of video on the YouTube and on the mini lathes, on the upgrades that people do, but I didn't see anyone talk about the chuck and the block itself, and also the cross slide. And yeah, before doing those alignment, I'm gonna make a lock for my saddle and also make a plate for my tailstock. So first thing first, the tailstock. The problem that I have with the tailstock is basically the base of the tailstock is so small, and it sometimes when I come to lock it in place, it basically slightly, there is a gap between the base of the tailstock and the rail, so the bed, I mean this triangle. And the problem is when I'm coming to lock my tailstock on a place, so sometimes it moves slightly toward left or maybe right. So if you pay attention to this point, and I can lock it, and as you can see there's a slightly play, and look, it's all the way toward the, I mean if you look at this handle, I can lock it at this point and it's locked now. I can lock it here. So basically it moves slightly toward left or right. So, and I don't like it. I don't like my tailstock to be like this. So when I'm basically drilling through the, let's say, a bar or something, so it's not exactly at the center. And yeah, basically the base, as you see, there is a slightly angle. I can lock it on the bed, but the problem is this angle is much greater at this point because we are, let's say, 10 centimeters away from the base. So it's not right to have this play on the base. And I do like to get my lathe or all my machines at the best accuracy as possible. So what I've done for this problem, I had some flat bar with the width of 30mm and height of and the thickness of 10mm. So what I've done, I cut a piece out of the bars and I place it on the lathe and turn it down to a specific size. Basically it was 25. The gap between the bed is about 25 millimeters, 25.60 millimeter if I don't mistaken. And I'm gonna place this bar right underneath. So what exactly it does, it doesn't let the tailstock to play that much. As you can see, there is barely move is into it, and regardless wherever I place it, it only locked at one point. Oh, okay, now we take care of the tailstock, and it's time to make my locking plate for the saddle. Okay, now the tailstock is fixed and the saddle locked is done. There's two other things left. The first is the block alignment or chuck alignment, whatever you want to call it. Is basically the thing there is lots of video on the mini lathes on YouTube, and I didn't see anyone mention about lining up these blocks or the chuck, simply because it's not possible to align it. It's not adjustable. And the thing is, when you're placing your bar into the chuck, you don't know whether it's straight or not, so it might be slightly toward the left, or maybe be right, or up or down. And what I'm about to show you, I'm gonna place my rod into the chuck and put the dial on, and we're gonna see if it's straight or not. I am not a professional machinist, but when it comes to lathe alignment, I believe almost everything has to be lined up with the bed, simply because the saddle moves along the bed, also the tailstock goes along the bed, and that is why we should take the bed as a reference point and lined up all the cross slide, chuck and the tailstock based on that. For doing the alignment, you make sure you have a straight bar that almost run through, so we're looking for a bar with less than a 500 of a mil or around that of the run out, so to make sure we get like almost the highest accuracy on the reading. And also make sure the chuck is clean, so when you place your bar is nothing in there, because it affects the reading on the dial. Okay, and I placed my dial on the lathe from side of the bar, and if I do back and forth, you're gonna see that dial moves. So I bring it somewhere near 0, and you're gonna notice as I go close toward the chuck, the bar gonna go toward the left, and as I go away from the chuck, is slightly gonna be toward the right. So let's say we are at the back of the chuck, and if it's the bar is slightly toward the right, and is slightly like, let's say we are back of the chuck, and this is the base of the block where the spindle is, and this is the place where it sits on this triangle. So what I'm about to do, if let's say I need to slightly move it toward the center, and for doing this I need to file slightly from center of the block to this side, and slightly from the other side from center to this end, so I can simply move it slightly toward the center. Okay, as you can see, I open the block and I place it next to the bed. So what I'm trying to do, again, the triangle where sits the base of the block, where sits on this point, need slightly, basically it needs to move slightly toward the right. So let's say I need it, basically the block is oriented, yeah, basically the block face is slightly toward the tool post, and it need to come toward the middle center of the bed, and for this reason I need to file slightly from middle of the base till this end, and also from this other side slightly remove again from center to this point. And I'm gonna do it with a file and place it back, tidy it again, and see if it works or not. And this is a closer look. So as you can see, I remove slightly from this side, and also I filed this end as well, and I didn't touch this half and this point. So let's back it on. Let me put it back on again and see how it goes. Okay, now the block is lined with the bed, and I tied it up. Before I put back the controller on, I double check, and you're gonna see the run out. I mean, how far the bar gonna be off. And as you remember, we had like 1500 of a mil this alignment. So now if let's turn this, I'll show you, is we have plenty of play around. So I bring this to 0, and is exactly at the side, and let's go back and forth and see the difference. And as you can see, the difference is about 300 of a mil, so we definitely improve. So and let's run the dial. Let me change the dial and read from the top and see the different reading from the top surface. From the side it shows the difference from left to right, and from the top, if we place the dial, it shows the difference from top to bottom. So the block might be like this, or it might be like that. So let's see. Okay, now I placed another dial at the top of the bar, so, and this is right at the center, and I can confirm it. If I go back and forth, the dial has to go anti-clockwise. It means the needle of the dial comes further down, so it means we are at the side, we are not right at the center. And I just want to show you that I'm right at the center. So as you can see, now let's do a backward, and you're gonna see again the difference. So basically somewhere near 0 is the highest point, and what I just want to do is go along the bar and see whether my chuck or block is the, I mean, that is like is the nose is down or up. So what I'm trying to show you, whether the chuck or the block is like this or like this. I did this before I tie things up, so I just want to show you, and you're gonna see the difference. And let's go. And as you can see, it might be around 1 or 200 of a mil, which is really decent, and definitely it worth the time to fix it. I personally like to get my machinery to the highest accuracy, so and if I turn it on, the piece of bar that I place it on is really round, and place it back. And this is a rating all the way at the end of the bar. Perfect.